Hello again, and welcome back to our new series here on the channel. We are playing TEW9, and this is our Rinka King series from 1970. Yes, the most niche save in the history of TEW, at least that's been published on YouTube, I would imagine. I mean, I don't know that for definite, but I cannot imagine there are too many that are hugely less or more, sorry, niche than this. So just a quick update. Obviously, we just have come through our second show, Wrestling Exhibition. We gave you both Wrestling Showcase and Wrestling Exhibition on the last episode, and we are now up to the quarterfinals of the Rinka King Heavyweight Title Tournament. We've also already done some business, so we are trying to sign Inoki, Terry Funk, Chin Lee, and Curtis Ikea to ongoing contracts following their alliance loan that brought them into the company and now being available to us on a more regular basis. We have also signed a couple more alliance loans to us in keep us in referees mainly. This is the problem we've got now, is that there are very few referees. Well, there are no referees in India, and we have not been able to change that. I think maybe Johnny Dugan might be Johnny Dugan's the exception. He has come through on an alliance loan before and now works for us on a regular basis, but wasn't available last time, so that's still a little bit of an issue. And I think we're going to have that problem because obviously, just because we've got them on alliance loans doesn't mean they're going to, prioritize our shows. Just because we've signed Dory Funk Jr. and potentially Antonio Inoki and other big names doesn't mean that they aren't going to work somewhere else in preference to working for us. Our next two shows are in the diary and they're on dates when currently none of them are due to be working elsewhere. The problem is that Dory Funk Jr. and, as we found out, Danny Hodge last time could be a moment's notice used somewhere else, because obviously Dory Funk Jr. is the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion and Danny Hodge the current World Junior Heavyweight title holder, and we're trying to have Hodge defend that belt against our own Rajendra Singh. So here is the next card for you that we're planning to put on, so long as everybody's available. The main event is going to be the heavyweight title tournament quarter-final Asian pool match between Dara Singh and Antonio Inoki. We've also got this match, which is actually not the Asian pool. I've put that incorrectly. It's a European pool here. As King Kong Chaya will take on Hercules Cortez. We've got Great Malumba from Guyana against Ray Apollon from Trinidad in the Americas pool. These two have also been in a big feud, so this is quite a big match, a singles contest between these two in the quarterfinal. And the quarterfinal Oceania pool match, Frank Hurley from Australia against Peter Maivia of Samoa. Those are the four matches in the tournament. To supplement that, on this next show, we've got Tiger Jaginder Singh, Kentaro Oki, and John Da Silva lined up to face Curtis Ikea, Chin Lee, and Alan Garfield. And hopefully this time around, obviously we couldn't do it last time because Danny Hodge was actually working in EMLL defending this very same belt. We've got Danny Hodge versus Rajendra Singh for the NWA Junior Heavyweight title. Plus we plan to have a tag team match which will see Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk take on Ajit Singh and Saeed Saif Shah. That is the full card ready to go for our next event. So it's time for a Wrestling Showcase, the second time this has happened. This time we're in February, of course, though. Back in southern India, again in front of 1,200 people. That's another thing I'm going to have to check out, is why we're always hitting this exact number. We're in a generic venue, so it shouldn't be a case that we're selling out. It should be just a random number as far as I know. Maybe there's a limit, I don't know, in terms of India. Who knows? Anyway, I'm getting distracted, but that's just bugging me a little bit that we're just getting 1,200 flat every single time. The show began with Frank Hurley and Peter Maivia in their quarterfinal of the Rinka King Heavyweight Title Tournament. And Frank Hurley loses to Maivia here in 10 minutes and 13 seconds by pinfall. Maivia uses the ropes for leverage. Again, he is very much the heel coming through this match for a segment rating of 40, which is pretty decent for the opener, and a crowd rating of 5. So that suggests that our wrestlers are becoming just a little bit more popular than they were when we started this save. Maivia did a 45 in-ring performance, Hurley a 40. I think what I'll do in this episode is check out the popularity rankings and compare them to where they were at the beginning of the save. But this got the show off to a good start. Pretty pleased with this. Maivia becomes the first man to get to the semi-final of the Rinka King Heavyweight Title Tournament. Then the second match is Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk against Ajit Singh and Saeed Saif Shah, and this was a very decent match, a 48 segment rating. Terry Funk of 46, Dory Funk Jr. 63. He really is in good form, and obviously the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Saeed Saif Shah and Ajit Singh did 30s. That's fine in terms of where we expect them to be. 12 minutes 11 this one went, and Dory Funk Jr. pinned Saeed Saif Shah with a pile driver. Funk was really, really good in this match. Then the third match is the feud match between grudge match between Great Malumbo and Rhea Palon. Unfortunately, they don't click, and it made for an awkward bout. I went with the Wild Brawl for this one, with Great Malumbo winning with a tomahawk chop. I went with the Wild Brawl because I figured like these two are in a bit of a feud, but they didn't have the stamina, or Rhea Apollon didn't have the stamina anyway to go any longer than 6 minutes in the context of a Wild Brawl. So we cut this very short, and unfortunately they don't click either, which was a bit of a shame because this has been a decent feud between the two. So this only did a 27 rating, which is a shame. Ray Apollon a 34, Great Malumba a 26, but it is the Great Malumba who proceeds to the semi-final of the Rinker King Tournament Heavyweight Title Tournament. That's not right. I've said those words in the wrong order. Never mind. But Malumba is progressing through anyway. Then we have the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title match. Today it does happen. Danny Hodge was available. Nobody else came along and decided they wanted to borrow the Junior Heavyweight title for this one. And Danny Hodge, gets the victory against Rajendra Singh in 15 minutes and 5 seconds by pinfall with a roll-up. I wanted to make the story here that Danny Hodge is obviously the experienced vet, but Rajendra Singh kind of impresses Hodge through the match. He did an in-ring performance of 33, did Singh. They have good chemistry, these two, but Danny Hodge was off his game, so it wasn't the most amazing match, but a segment rating nonetheless of 33. The crowd heat is still hot, and I think this will be a booster for Rajendra anyway. And then after the match, Rajendra Singh and Danny Hodge shake hands. Danny Hodge just showing once again how impressed he is with the young Rajendra Singh for a segment rating here of 5. The whole idea here is to get Danny Hodge in to visit the territory and give Rajendra Singh a competitive match to put him over as a really decent talent. Then we had the third quarterfinal of the Rinker King Heavyweight Title Tournament, and King Kong Chaya overcomes Hercules Cortez in 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Chaya was visibly tiring towards the end, but this was still a good match. 56 from Chaya, 45 from Cortez, a segment rating of 51. King Kong Chaya comes through the European pool, so we've already had, obviously, Great Malumba come through the Americas pool, and we had Peter Maivia come through the Oceania pool. Now King Kong Chai has come through the European pool to make the semi-final of the tournament. Next up, we had the 6-man tag match, which saw Tiger Jaginder Singh, and I picked the right wrestler this time, Kintaro Oki and John De Silva against Chin Lee, Curtis Ikea and Alan Garfield in 14-13, with Jaginder Singh pinning Alan Garfield. At this point, because of the fact that none of the wrestlers other than Jaginder Singh, Dara Singh and King Kong Chaya had any popularity in India before the game started, even though Jaginder Singh's getting a victory here, this will have made all of them more popular in India just by being in this match. And it did well. Segment rating of 52. Jaginder Singh was the best performer at 59, but you got Curtis Ikea on 50, Chin Lee on 51, Kintaro Oki on 55. Everyone doing pretty well. The crowd heat near the end is very hot. We have got a little bit of an issue with Tiger Jaginder Singh though, because in March he goes off to film a movie, which is not entirely great. We've got so few stars in this company, and one of them, of the three, one of them is going off to record a movie. So that's a bit annoying, but anyway, they get the victory here. And then after the match, Tiger Jaginder Singh cuts a promo and says to the crowd that he thinks it's about time that Dory Funk Jr. gave him a rematch for the NWA World Heavyweight title, given the fact that they drew in their last match. They didn't draw in their last match, did they? Tiger Jaginder Singh won by disqualification in their last match. Dory Funk Jr. comes out and responds and says that Tiger Jaginder Singh is on. He will see him at the next Rinker King show. So segment rating here 42 to set up what will probably be the main event of our next event for the NWA World Heavyweight title, Dory Funk Jr. and Tiger Jaginder Singh. And then the main event, 67 rating here, as Dara Singh went at it with Antonio Inoki in the fourth quarterfinal of the Ring Ka King heavyweight title tournament. A really good match. Antonio Inoki is 65. This one was the longest I think we've had in our in since the save began, with Dara Singh coming out on top, him coming through the Asian pool of the tournament. So that will set up in the semi-finals Dara Singh against Peter Maivia and King Kong Chaya against Great Malumba. But this was a really good match. I think probably the best match we've seen so far in the company, and a really good way to end this show. For an overall rating of 54, increasing our popularity in the one region. Loads of wrestlers being used too much according to the game, but we've got no choice. We haven't got huge amounts of stars in the company, so we have to use wrestlers more often, or for longer I should say, than we would want to, especially with King Kong Chaya really not being able to go for any length of time. So in terms of who gets the call outs here, well, I think first of all we need to go with Dory Funk Jr. I think we will also go with Antonio Inoki, and then in addition to that I'm going to give it to, who else do I want to give a bit of credit to here? Difficult to say, really, because I'm just going to give it to Tiger Jaginder Singh. Not that he particularly needs it, and as I said, he is leaving. But I'd say leaving. He's going off to film a movie. So we've got to do something about that. Some more popularity gains in southern India. And that is the latest show of this company. And I think we're going to try and get a second one in, but I'm going to obviously run some of the business type stuff that I need to do first before we get there, and then we'll also do a little bit of looking at the popularity now of the wrestlers in India, because that will have increased since the beginning of this game. Just to show you though, another bit of excellent feedback with the show going down really well. So we're now just a couple of days away from the next show for Ring Ka King, and I did promise that what we would do is go through the popularity of our wrestlers. We will do that in just a second, but first I want to talk about a few bits of business we've done. We've brought in the Briscoe brothers for on an alliance loan, with the hope that they will both then, after that, be available to work in India going forward, and we can use them on a more regular basis. And I think what I've realised is that this series is unintentionally a way for us to bring together pretty much all the best wrestlers in the world from the 1970s and have them wrestle in loads of really kind of big dream matches. So it's a bit of a strange one, but I think we're on the road to something pretty interesting with this series, to be honest. I didn't really have any major concept for this. I just thought we would do it and see where it went. And now I'm really starting to think there's a chance we can create something really kind of special because of the fact that we're kind of outside of all the wrestling wars that are going on in America at the time. So we can just go and get anybody and bring them into the company pretty much, so long as they work for the NWA. And if we could perhaps also open up some friendship with the WWF and AWA, any exclusive workers that they've got I could also bring in, and we could really have an amazing promotion here. So let's keep that on the back burner, because that's something that definitely could happen. Let's also tell you about what's going to be happening at the next event, shall we? Because this is the proposed card we've got. I say proposed because you never know who's not going to be available at the last minute. In particular, the man who should be facing Tiger Jaginder Singh in the main event of this show for the NWA World Heavyweight title, as sort of set up on our last event. Dory Funk Jr. will take on Tiger Jaginder Singh for the belt. This is going to be Tiger Jaginder Singh's last event for us before he goes back to the movie. So that should tell you who's going to win. But obviously, we've been building to this for a little bit of time, really since the first event that took place. We then got the two Ring Ka King heavyweight title tournament matches in the semi-final. Dara Singh versus Peter Maivia, and King Kong Chaya against Great Malumba. They are the semi-finalists, and they will be facing one another in this show. We've got a six-man tag match: Antonio Inoki, Terry Funk, and Ray Apollon versus Hercules Cortez, George Burgess, and Frank Hurley. We've got a couple of singles matches: Tiger Jeet Singh versus Dwight J. Engelberg, and Hurricane Castillo versus Ajit Singh. And then we've got the Briscoe brothers versus Chin Lee and Curtis Ikea. And what, as I discussed a moment ago, in terms of the wrestlers we could potentially bring in here. We've got the Funks, we've got Inoki, we've got the Briscoes. You know, potentially I can bring in loads and loads of other great wrestlers into this company, and that is going to be my goal ultimately. So what that means for a lot of wrestlers like George Burgess, Ajit Singh, Dwight J. Engelberg, possibly even some of the others, is that they will ultimately be used mainly as kind of enhancement talent for those wrestlers that we bring in who have to build up their popularity. So, but I think this could be, as I said, a very cool series from that perspective. Now, as I said, the popularity, I just talked about popularity, and this is where we are in India going forward for the moment. So we've still got Tiger Jaginder Singh, most popular, King Kong Chai and Dara Singh, but Peter Maivia has now moved into 4th place with 13 in southern India, and Tony Onoki's got 10, and he's got 9 in western India as well. Hercules Cortez on to 11, Frank Hurley up to 9, Terry Funk 9, Great Malumba, Rhea Palon. All of these guys are starting to accrue a degree of popularity. Dory Funk Jr. in 11 as well. And so yeah, like it's actually working at the moment. It's working gradually. Obviously, we've got to build up all their popularity, but all these wrestlers are guys that work for us, right down to Huracan Castillo. So only the wrestlers who haven't wrestled for us are underneath this lot, are any less popular. So we've got all the most popular wrestlers in India and an increasing pool of talent to pick from because of the fact that we're bringing over wrestlers on alliance loans and then being able to book them ongoing from that point. So I think that's a good place for us to stop. When we come back in just a moment, we will bring you the next event. So we are here for the next wrestling exhibition event. This is our second event in February, and it's looking like now that the rhythm of these episodes is going to be we'll do 2 events per episode, basically covering a full month of the game time. And we start today's show in front of 1,100 people in Eastern India, by the way. So we were in Western India, I think, last month. We've done 2 shows in Southern India, and we'll try and be in Northern India for the second show in March. And hopefully that should maintain our overall popularity in all those regions, but keep potentially Southern India growing as best we can. And Huracan Castillo here drew with Ajit Singh in a 15-minute time limit match. I very much took inspiration here from the old Madison Square Garden shows that WWF used to run, where pretty much in the first, second, or third match you could be guaranteed a 15-minute time limit draw. That's what we've got here. Segment rating of 41. Castillo's in-ring performances of 39. Ajit Singh's of 32. No real suggestion I'm going to turn this into a story. I just honestly didn't really know or care that much really who won this match, so we just went for a draw. Why not? 41 rating for that one. Castillo 39. Pretty good performance. Then we had the tag team match introducing the Briscoe brothers to our crowd, and this one went to a victory for the Briscoe brothers, which I think was not the intention. I think I've messed this up about 14 times in terms of the booking. I was messing around with this. Chin Lee and Curtis Ikea have absolutely zero chemistry as partners, which is probably means I'm going to end the Briscoe brothers Curtis Ikea Chin Lee storyline, because I only half-heartedly went into it thinking what I was going to book was a big old double disqualification sports entertainment type finish with the 4. This was the wild brawl, and I thought, well, we'll just have them battle out of the ring. But that didn't happen. Obviously, I did the booking notes wrong for the road agent, and so they didn't end up doing that. And then they still had the storyline, but Chin Lee and Curtis Ikea don't have any chemistry. So I think ultimately that was a botched experiment that wasn't going to work anyway, and so I'm glad to be done with it. But a segment rating of 39. We are going to bring the Briscoes in. Obviously, the obvious match that I'm looking forward to, and possibly even will book in the next show, is going to be the Briscoes versus the Funks. But you know, we're not quite at the point where they're going to be as popular as they could be, so maybe that's something we should consider again. I don't know. Anyway, the Briscoes come out with a victory here. Lots of rambling. Apologies for that. Decent match all the same. So then the third match on the night is Tiger Jeet Singh against Dwight J. Engelberg. I can't say his name. I can't say Dwight J. Engelberg without really readjusting what I'm saying whilst I'm saying it. Whatever the case, Tiger Jeet Singh gets the victory here. Obviously, our long-term goal is to make Tiger Jeet Singh the biggest star in India. We are doing it very, very gradually, though. We're not rushing this. We're taking our time. We're going to build him up very, very slowly. He gets a victory here. I think his first singles victory in the company for a segment rating of 36. So now into the big matches, the big four matches of the night. We start with King Kong Chaya's battle with Great Malumba in the first semi-final of the Rinka King Heavyweight Title Tournament. And yes, indeed, King Kong Chaya wins the match in 10 minutes and 7 seconds by pinfall. A 58 rating from him. Great Malumba only a 26. He hasn't really benefited from the victories as much as I'd like him to have done, although we are in Eastern India, I suppose, which Great Malumba won't have wrestled in front of before. So a segment rating of 52 is still really decent here, and I managed this one to go a bit longer because we made it a storytelling match. Otherwise, King Kong Chaya would not have managed it. I mean, he is 60 years old, so it's not a surprise. And this is the issue, right? We've got Tiger Jaginder Singh, who is leaving the company. We've got King Kong Chaya, who's 60. I mean, Tiger Jaginder Singh's not technically leaving the company, but he is going off to film a movie, which presumably will take him at least 6 months. We've got King Kong Chaya, who is 60 years old, and Dara Singh, who's already an occasional wrestler at 41, and they are the only popular wrestlers in India. So we've got a lot of work to do if we're going to maintain a kind of self-sufficient and ongoing promotion here in India. Then the six-man tag match, Antonio Inoki, Terry Funk and Ray Apollon versus Hercules Cortez, George Burgess and Frank Hurley. Really just a time filler here. Also a chance to get Inoki and Funk on the card, get them a bit more popularity. I mean, everybody's getting more popularity. Every single time they wrestle, they get a bit more popularity. Inoki's gimmick is getting stale, but he also shone in the match. So maybe that's something to think about in terms of Inoki and changing his gimmick. But 64 rating in the ring for him. Everybody else pretty decent. And Terry Funk gets the win for his team by pinning George Burgess after a pile driver. Crowd heat at the end is very hot as we go into the two big matches of the night. The first of those is the semi-final match between Dara Singh and Peter Maivia, and Dara Singh gets the win here in 13:39. Another segment rating of 52, and Dara Singh had an in-ring performance of 59 to Peter Maivia's 49. This was decent, despite Dick Worley could have done a better job as road agent. But yes, Dara Singh gets the victory. It will be King Kong Chaya against Dara Singh in the final of the Ring Kicking Heavyweight Title Tournament, which will take place on our fifth show, and we'll obviously headline that event. And so the main event of this event for the NWA World Heavyweight Title, Dory Funk Jr. against Tiger Jaginder Singh, and Dory Funk Jr. gets the victory in 15 minutes 11 by pinfall with a pile driver. He managed to get Jaginder Singh up for the pile driver. I think in reality, realistically, that would not have happened. But anyway, he also gets help from Terry Funk in this one, so it was not a clean victory for Dory. But he gets the win, a segment rating of 62, a very good match. Not the best in the history of the company thus far, but both Dory Funk Jr. and Tiger Jaginder Singh had good rating here. Unfortunately, Dick Worley was our road agent and didn't do the best job. But all the same, Dory Funk Jr. retains his NWA World Heavyweight title, and Tiger Jaginder Singh will be going off to film a movie, which means this is the last we've seen of him at least for a little while. And what I'd say to this is that I did consider having Jaginder Singh win the NWA World title, at least in our debut show. But I just didn't think it was very realistic. I just didn't think it would make sense. And I do have an issue with the game mechanics behind Alliance titles, especially when you try and... Like, obviously the game is not made for real-world scenarios, but if you had a real-world scenario where you've got an NWA, it wouldn't be down to Rinka King or any of the promotions within the Alliance ultimately to make a decision on their own that they were going to switch the belt. I think what should happen is if you want to change the title on your show, you should apply. There should be some kind of game mechanism where you have to apply to that alliance and say, look, I want to make Tiger Jaginder Singh the NWA World Champion. What do you think? And then the other territories should all vote on whether they are happy with that, and that vote should be on the basis of who's the more popular wrestler in their territory. That would make a lot more sense to me. And obviously then they would override it and say, no, we're not allowing you to have the title change hands. Whereas as it is in the game, I could have made Tiger Jaginder Singh the NWA World Champion with absolutely no issue or stopping me from NWA. So I think that's an issue with the game mechanics for alliances and something I'd like to see change in the future. Anyway, I've spoken enough about the game mechanics. Let's move on. An overall rating of 58, a very good show. Dory Funk Jr. retains the NWA World Heavyweight title. Some good matches underneath. 3 good matches underneath, in fact. Nothing in the way of angles on this show, which didn't hurt us, which is alright. Yeah, well, hopefully we can make sure there are a few angles on the next event, because I'm not a big fan of having no angles, frankly. But there we go. That's the show. Dory Funk Jr. retains the title. We've set up the final of the Ring Kicking Heavyweight title tournament for the next event, which will be King Kong Chaya against Dara Singh. I'm sure nobody's really surprised by that. Dory Funk Jr. will be complimented on a good performance. Tiger Jaginder Singh as well, although he's going to be angry. He wasn't happy with losing to Dory Funk Jr. at all, so he won't be very happy about what just took place in that match. And we'll give Dara Singh some encouragement as well, because he's been reasonably good all the way through. And another increase in popularity, although not to 41 in any of our territories, or any of our regions, I should say. That is all for today. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode, and I'll catch you on the next one.